Hello again, everybody. This is Steve Callis, speaking of sports, and we're here to preview the Super Bowl this coming Sunday between Kansas City and San Francisco. Kansas City's a 1.5 point favorite, although it seems like everybody's kind of leaning towards San Francisco now. The 49ers have, without question, a better defense. They have a very good offense. Their quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, is kind of getting grief because he only threw 8 passes in the NFC Championship game. But if you're going to rush for 285 yards, including Mostert's 220 yards, you don't really need to throw the ball. So they really have kind of flipped the switch in terms of making this almost a rushing Super Bowl, if you will. Now the Chiefs on the other side, they have Patrick Mahomes. He's their main man. They have lots of weapons. But it's interesting, generally speaking, the Chiefs have not been good against the run this year. They improved a little at the end of the season. But many people thought the Titans would beat the Chiefs 2 weeks ago because Derrick Henry had run for 180 or more yards in the first 2 playoff games. And they just assumed that was going to happen against the Chiefs. A lot of people thought the Titans could win, even though the Chiefs were the favorite by 7 points. And as it turns out, Derrick Henry only rushed for 69 yards. An incredible job by Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, and the Chiefs' defense. I thought one of the keys to the game, totally unmentioned, was Chris Jones, who had come back from injury, the D lineman, who's a big, strong guy. He's also a free agent, so he's playing for a contract. I thought he played really well. His stats, it didn't look like he had a lot of tackles or anything, but he got double-teamed a lot, and that gave others on the line room to, make some tackles or rush the passer or whatever. So Chris Jones, again, very few people will talk about him. I think he's one of the keys to the game. And there are 2 keys to the game. Can the Chiefs stop the rushing game of the San Francisco 49ers? If Jimmy Garoppolo throws 8 passes again, that means they rush for like 250 yards. They're going to win the Super Bowl. But if they can hold them down, I don't think they can totally stop them. But again, they held Derrick Henry to 69 yards. That's an incredible accomplishment. Henry led the league in rushing and then had back-to-back 180-plus yard games in the playoffs. So the Chiefs did a great job. Spagnuolo has Super Bowl experience. He was the Giants coordinator when the Giants beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And he did a lot of blitzing that day. And it was a stunning upset. As you know, the Giants upset the Patriots twice. Spagnuolo did a good job. And now recently, I thought the Chiefs have played much better, both against the run and in terms of limiting points. So the first main point is, can the 49ers rush the ball on the Chiefs? And if they're very successful, 200 yards, 250 yards, 285 yards, I think they'll win the game, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. The other question on the other side of the ball is, can the San Francisco 49ers front 4, Nick Bosa and company, D Ford, can they rush the passer, Patrick Mahomes, well enough so they can drop 7 into coverage? Now, Patrick Mahomes is not Lamar Jackson. He's better than Lamar Jackson. The reason the Ravens got beat is because they kept Lamar Jackson in the pocket, and he's not as good a passer as Mahomes. So just because you can keep Patrick Mahomes in the pocket doesn't mean you're going to beat him. The question is, can you sack him? I don't think he's going to get sacked a lot. He's such a gifted runner. He's such a smart guy. He's such a great passer. I think it's going to be very hard. And also for the 49ers, I don't think they can play man-to-man. There's nobody in the NFL who can guard Tyreek Hill. He's like the fastest guy in the league, period. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to play zone. And now I saw Phil Simms on TV, and I certainly respect what Phil Simms thinks about these games. He thinks that the Chiefs are going to have to dink and dunk 6-yard passes, 8-yard passes, and usually, as you know, they're big play pass guys. I don't think that's a problem for Mahomes. Kelsey, the tight end, is one of the best, if not the best tight end in football. Kittle on the 49ers is the other one. They're 1-2. I don't know which way you want to pick them. But Kelsey is incredible at getting open on the zone. They're going to have to play zone because nobody can guard Tyreek Hill. And Sammy Watkins, who never gets a mention, he's like the number 3 guy. He's great. He caught a 60-yard touchdown pass 2 weeks ago. So they have so many weapons. And I think Andy Reid, 23-5 when he has a week off, when it's 2 weeks between games, 23-5, he's going to cook something up. Maybe they'll have some trick plays. But I think the Kansas City offense, even though a lot of people say, oh, Mahomes' worst games were against good defenses, and that's true, they forget that Mahomes was hurt. He had that dislocated knee. He hasn't really been 100% healthy till the last 4 or 5 weeks, I'll say, and he's lit it up every week. They haven't lost since week 10. So the Chiefs are really good. The 49ers have a better all-around team. I agree with that. And the 49ers in the playoffs, they've only allowed 15.5 points per game and 252 yards total. Now, I don't think they're going to hold the Chiefs to that again. If they do, they'll win the game. So it's really Andy Reid, who lost to the Patriots many years ago when he was the Eagles coach in the Super Bowl. That's his experience, against Kyle Shanahan, who you'll recall was the offensive coordinator when they had a 28-3 lead in the third quarter over the Patriots. Now, it wasn't Shanahan's fault that they lost the lead, but it was Shanahan's fault when they moved into a position late in the game where Julio Jones made an incredible catch. They could have kicked a 40-yard field goal to put them up 10 with a couple of minutes to go. And instead of just running the ball into the line 3 times or even taking 3 knees where Matt Bryant could come out and kick a 40-yard field goal or 41 yards, not to win the game, but to clinch the game, they were already up 7. But instead, after running on first down and for no gain or a loss of 1, they threw the ball on second down. Matt Ryan took a terrible sack. There was a holding penalty, and by the time it was over, they had to punt. They couldn't kick a field goal. And again, instead of being up 10, they're up 7. You know what happened. Tom Brady leads them down the field, ties up the game. Patriots win the coin toss, and once they won the coin toss, you knew Tom Brady was going to lead them down the field and win the game, and that's exactly what happened. And Shanahan has said, I regret that. I have to live with it. I take full responsibility, blah, blah, blah. It's partially Dan Quinn, the head coach's fault, but it was Shanahan who made these weird calls. And I was at the game with my son, the Patriots fan. We just thought it was weird that they didn't run the ball 3 times and kick a field goal. Of course, my son was rooting for the Patriots. So they lucked out. I thought they lucked out. And they won that Super Bowl. So Reid, 0-1 in the Super Bowl. Shanahan is an offensive coordinator, 0-1 in the Super Bowl. They're 2 of the best, if not the 2 best, offensive coaches in the game. But with the weapons the Chiefs had and with the intelligence, the speed, Mahomes can run it. He had that incredible 27-yard touchdown run against the Titans right before the half. If you watch the replay around left end, it was just incredible. That was a key part of the game. And the one other thing I'll say, comparing the Chiefs and the 49ers, the Chiefs clearly have the ability to come back from a big deficit. They were losing 24-0 to the Texans, and it was just incredible that they came back and won 51-31. It wasn't even close on the other end. And they were also down 10-0 and then 17-7 to the Titans, and they were able to come back from that. And you knew the Titans couldn't come back because they're essentially a running team. Now, right now, the 49ers are essentially a running team, but don't sleep on Jimmy Garoppolo. He can throw it. He just hasn't had to. So a lot of people think, and I'm one of them, because he threw 8 passes in the NFC Championship game, that's not really a test as can he sling it in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is a totally different game to begin with, and Jimmy G hasn't really been throwing the ball in games. Not that he's going to be rusty or out of shape or something, but just the mere fact that he hasn't had to do it because the ground game has been so good. So again, the 2 keys to the game: can the Chiefs stop the 49ers run? If they run for over 200 yards, they're going to win the game. They'll also keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. If Jimmy G has to throw it, he can win the game. Don't discount him. A lot of people saying, he can't do it. You don't know if he can do it or not. He only threw 8 passes 2 weeks ago. That was the 3rd lowest passes in a playoff game in the history of the NFL. But if he has to, he's shown it. Belichick thought he was going to be the heir apparent to Tom Brady, but Tom Brady said he wanted to play till he was 45. So they gave Garoppolo to the 49ers, and I say gave Garoppolo to the 49ers for a 2nd-round draft pick, which is like the steal of the century. Garoppolo was hurt last year. That's why they were 4-12. He missed the whole season. This year in the Super Bowl, I understand why a lot of people are picking the 49ers. I'm going to go with the Chiefs because of Patrick Mahomes. People think that the 49ers defense can shut down Patrick Mahomes. They might be right. I'll believe it when I see it. So I have a final score: Chiefs 35. I think they'll win 35-27, so that's an over game. And of course, the Chiefs 1.5-point favorite. I think they'll cover. This is Steve Callis, speaking of sports. We'll see you the next time.